Hey guys, you know who it is. You know where you are and you know what's happening. J Chats is back. So just simply subscribe and share, and of course click that bell so you know every time I drop a new video, you're there with me. Topics may include growth, development, social issues, broadcasting, even marketing for one's business. This is where we learn together. J Chats, from interests to insights. Enjoy. Hi, guys. Welcome back to J Chat. I'm your girl, JD, and it is always a pleasure to be inside your world, whether you're looking on or listening here in Trinidad and Tobago or some other part of the world. Thank you for giving me some time inside of your day. Yeah, we're still inside of this COVID-19 pandemic. For how long again, no one knows. But it is that space in which I utilize to have conversations with different persons in Trinidad and Tobago, creatives, whether it's dealing with hair care, whether it's dealing with management, marketing, or even as this young man here is doing. He's a young author who's just doing amazing things in Trinidad and Tobago. And God knows we need some of that injected into our world as we continue to thrive and try to survive in 2020. It's been that kind of year. So in studio with me, I've had the proud ability and just opportunity to chat with him on radio some time ago, and I said, no, I need to get Daniel Francis. He's doing things, amazing things on the social media platforms. You're seeing extremely busy. He literally just came out of another meeting, but I have just been afforded the opportunity right now. So thank you, Daniel, for joining us. I will give you listeners and viewers just a bit of a bio from him. So if you see me reading there, I've got a little production house happening inside of my home. So I've got, I don't have the teleprompter like they do in traditional media. I'm just going to utilize another screen, right? So Daniel Francis is an author and entrepreneur from Trinidad and Tobago. He's been doing this for 10 years. He's been involved in youth advocacy. Daniel now serves as the personal development coach at, is it Rebit Limited? Yeah. And he works with specifically with millennials. So he's not talking about persons like myself, even though I think I still am one of those. And he helps taps into the full potential of millennials, right? So he's done many workshops, and now, just like most of us, everything's happening on Zoom. So welcome to J Chats, Daniel. Thank you so much for being here with me. And how are you doing? How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm good. I'm blessed. I'm good, tired, good, stressed, and honestly, just really happy to be here and happy to be on this path.
Exactly. And you know, this is just a strange year in which your path is just extremely busy, but hey, maybe this is working out in the best, where all the attention now is just focused from other things and persons are getting to regroup, rejuvenate, and read. And you know, dive into your book, which is called The Millennial Mind. So before we talk about the book, exactly what is a personal development coach? And you say you've worked with youth for about almost 10 years. What exactly does your role entail?
Well, so there are different, let's say, fields and pockets of people who are, let's say, life coaches, right? But uh, under the umbrella of personal development coach, with my parents' company, Rebit Limited, we are licensed under the company that's called Leadership Management International. So in the States, it's a company that's run, well, that was started by a guy named Paul J. Meyer. So he wrote books, the 7 pillars of leadership development, similar to like the John Maxwell's, who people who will be certified under them. And that's where I got the training to basically facilitate sessions. And I would facilitate sessions based on his programs that he created, and then whatever I branch off to. Now the 10 years is a stretch, because I mean, let's say the 6 years before that was just my mentorship when I was in college, my mentorship programs when I was just working and figuring out life. Because to me, I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. I actually thought I was going to be a doctor. But, you know, when you think back to your life and you look at the milestones, a lot of my milestones were focused on how I help people, mentorship programs, social justice programs. So it kind of just clicked that more or less I was meant to do this work. And then the workshops started, the one-on-one consultations, and well, now it's COVID time, so there's a lot of There's a lot of this, a
A
lot of
lot of
Zoom
this.
calls. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So why do you think was it so important to you to speak to the youth or quote unquote the millennials?
yeah. As a millennial, I understand that we are in a really tricky position where you read the literature out there, the books, you listen to the videos, the podcasts, all these different things, and it's always a top to bottom type of dispensing of information. Like,
Right.
I am better than you. I am here, listen to my words, right? But the persons who are here, they don't speak specifically to you. They
Mm-hmm.
are speaking in generalistic, um, basically tones, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you're meant to digest that information and then make it specific to your needs. Well, a lot of people are not able to digest it properly and then use it to their needs, specifically as millennials, right? So one, we don't really like to listen to people who are like authority or experts
Figures, yes.
because we're a
Mm-hmm.
little stubborn.
Right.
And then two, it's we need information that's specific to us. So when I sat down and was thinking about what is the best way to reach millennials, boy, because we we need the help, right? I'm doing sessions with persons and their lives are just in shambles. They don't even realize it because of how how they grew up, their environment, what they were taught is important. Because they focus on the things that they shouldn't really be focusing on, they can't see that their life is, kind of not in the best place. So I said, you know what? Why not get the story from a millennial? I started to make connections between all the things we've been struggling with.
Right.
That's our problems specific to us. And I said, let me write this book in a way that one, it's easy to read, two, it's relatable, and then three, it causes the person who's reading it to say, wow, what does this translate to in my life? And when I figured that out, what does it mean for what I should be doing now?
So
And that
before
was the main reason I did it.
so before we go into the book, and I'll give a little bit of details as to what I have here in terms of some of the chapters as well in just a bit. Um, what is a millennial? What bracket are we looking at?
So a millennial is someone who's born within the range of 1981 to about 1996. The
Damn.
1996 are you out. Sorry.
Damn.
the but there's a gray area when it comes to the 1996. Some say 1994. It's not really fighting on nobody on that. But interestingly enough, there are actually different stages of millennials. There's
Explain.
there's early, there's middle, and there's late, right? So let's say it's between 23 to 39.
Right.
That 32 to 39 age bracket, they are more the late millennials. Then 32 to about, it was like 24, 25 thereabout, you're in that middle category. And then the latter half is early. And that distinction is important because not all millennials were created equal. That late millennial, because they're so close to the baby boomer generation, they have a lot of baby boomer qualities in that they were not born so steeped in technology that they would have exactly the same issues as us. And also because they are in the latter stage of their lives, you'll see that a lot of their issues are not the middle and early millennial problems. Like they're already paying for houses, they're already
Right.
starting a family, they're at a different level, right? But the middle and the early, they're in a whole another type of crisis that is now not only steeped in the difficulty of the financial market, but our mentality is different because we grew up with like instant gratification. We grew up with technology always in front of us, and
Yes.
they don't exactly know all about that, you know. But even middle to early millennials so completely different to middle because they fully in the technology. They on a whole nother level
Yeah.
compared to me because I'm a middle millennial, right? So I thought when I wrote the book in the introduction, I had to make the distinction so people could see what is the difference when it comes to millennials.
So what was before millennials? Because I have no shame in the game. I'm 43, so I was born in 76.
Right.
So what do we have a name? I was just did
You
the
you
naming start on millennials?
no. You're in the baby boomer generation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm a
Like
baby boomer.
you're a baby boomer, yes.
I like the name too. Adds a little bit of youth. to me.
Wow.
So your book is called The Millennial Mind: Success
Mm,
Secrets for Unlocking Your Full Potential. And as it
correct.
says here, it motivates millennials through relatable stories and practical solutions. It's broken up
Mm,
in different chapters. As you've got the quarter life crisis. What sort of
mm-hmm.
crisis can you guys have? But you'll tell me. Push pull factor, the blame tag, and the choice is yours. So let's look at this interesting name, quarter life crisis.
Mm-hmm.
What what
So,
what what?
well, the one of the crises that was, let's say, underpinned for the baby boomer generation was the midlife crisis, right? You know, you reach the 30 something and maybe your life isn't exactly where you want it to be.
Yeah.
Now, us millennials, because you find that we are so steeped in instant gratification, we think
Mm,
we are entitled, we feel we're special, and we lack that patience. And then underpinning all of that, we don't really focus on core, so purpose. So we more just do things for doing sake. You mix all that together, and what you get is the quarter life crisis, where we are in our 20 somethings, and we get to this point of crisis, and the crisis is specific to each person, right? So I could give an example, but it may not be a millennial example, right?
right.
Because everybody's different. Because one
Right.
person's crisis could be huge, where they studied their work, they started school, they started their career, they hate every single thing about their career, but
Yeah.
in their minds, I've studied my whole life for this. I have to do this, right? And because they hold on to that, everything is falling apart around them. That could be an example of a quarter life crisis. But then you have one who, maybe it's not that extreme. Maybe they are going through the exact same thing, but they have a more subtle feeling of, why do I get up every morning and feel stuck?
Right.
Why do I feel like I'm not
Right.
satisfied my purpose? And then the most common ones of, I'm 25, I might be approaching 30. Why don't I have that car? Why don't I have that home? Why am I still living in my parents' house? Why do I have no money saved? Why don't I have that girlfriend, that boyfriend, that husband, that wife? Why don't I have these things?
So the
And
whys are what you address in this
mm,
book. Not just to give the answers, but for those millennials to understand, the process of the journey it takes. Because I've been there.
mm,
Like you said, I'm a baby boomer. So I remember in my younger days at those 20 somethings and not having those certain attainments. I'm like, why? Why? And you were so impatient. And I'm not saying, well, it is a form of impatience because we're just not
mm,
letting the journey flow. And now that I've
exactly.
attained some of those things, I'm like, I always say to God, I say, I know, I know. I just need to be a little more patient with you. So is this basically what you're doing through the book? Just guiding millennials to gain a little patience and understand it's a journey that you need to trust the process, maybe?
Yeah. It's I mean, it's specific to each challenge, but what the goal was is that I wanted persons to really think about what is happening currently in their life, or what happened to them in the past, and what that means for the decisions that they are making now.
Right,
Because each chapter would focus on a different problem. So
right.
quarter life crisis is that whole crisis. I don't have what I'm supposed to have, and that chapter guides them on understanding, like, hey,
Yeah.
breathe, it's cool. You're not supposed to
Right.
have everything figured out. We grew up hearing by 30, you had to have things set. By
Yes.
25, you need to have things set. And that is
Yes.
not the real world. Everybody has their own journey. Everybody's going through their own experience. And we need to stop buying into what social media and what the media is showing, that you're just supposed to have everything figured out. Like, that is not how it works.
Amazing. And this is an amazing book because just hearing you say that, as you said, social media and just the world creates these definitions that
Mm-hmm.
many people think they need to live by, or that's their measurement of you're supposed to be attaining these things at
Yeah.
certain times. And that in itself is a challenge or a crisis, again, not only for millennials, because even I guess I have my own in early 40s. Everybody has their own that they need, what society says, you should be doing that already, or you should have had this already. So
Mm-hmm.
you talk about quarter life crisis, and I love how you're doing this for the persons to just realize nothing's wrong with me. It's
Mm-hmm.
just I need to just, be patient and understand according to the process. So it goes. But push pull factor, that sounds like a tug of war sort of thing. What is that
Yeah.
about?
That came about. And it's so funny. I love doing sessions with persons, and I always start sessions by telling them, you're going to learn a lot, but I'm going to learn a lot too. Because I always
Oh,
learn from the experience of
Of
guiding
course.
somebody, because you never know what pops up. I remember sitting in Starbucks having a conversation with somebody trying to explain to them motivation. And in that conversation came push-pull factors, where it is when you're in school, the structure is set for you. You have classes at a particular time, you have extracurriculars, you have whatever it is, and your free
Right.
time, right? You are more or less conditioned to work well within that system. But what tends to happen is that they set it up where you can do the work consistently, but we worthless, so we only really put in work when we're forced to.
Yes.
Hence, procrastination, cramming, all these different things. So we only studying when we had the exam is tomorrow. We only
Truth be
doing the
told.
assignment early in the morning. We rushing it down, copying from whoever, and we what what we didn't realize is that by doing this for such a long period of time, we are creating something called push factors, whereby you only react, and it is a reaction, when you are pushed to do so by the push factor. Now, in school, it seems small, but then when you get into the real world and you start adulting, it becomes big. You decide, I want this nice car, you buy this nice car, you now
Mm-hmm.
have a monthly payment for a vehicle that you cannot afford, and
To
now you're
afford.
reacting and forcing and pushing yourself to pay for this thing, right? You maybe in a relationship and now you have a baby. That's an extreme version of a push factor. You have a whole child to take care of, and you're just reacting to make sure that this, there's a life made for this baby. Now, what you should be using is something called the pull factors, right? And hence the name. In order to pull something to you, you need to know what it is you're pulling, and you need to know how you're pulling it, right?
Right.
So it starts by saying, what is it that I want? And then how am I going to get it? So the main difference between those two is that the push factor is you reacting. The pull factor is you being proactive about what you want. So now you leave school and you decide, what do I want to do with my life? And then you say, okay, I want to be president of Trinidad and Tobago. Cool. What are the steps that you need to take to make that a reality? Right?
Right.
You're actively thinking about it. You're actively planning. You're actively doing things each day to get you there. You're being proactive. You're working towards your pull factors. Now, don't get me wrong, it's almost impossible to not have push factors, because just the way the world is set up, you're going to be reacting. You can't help
Right.
it. You know, we're all basically reacting right now due to COVID, because nobody could have been like, yeah, I'm going to make my plans with a pandemic in mind. Nobody had that, right? But
Yes.
you want to make sure that the most important things, the biggest goals, the biggest dreams, they are your pull factors, and you're working towards them steadily.
I love you're sort of teaching responsibility, aren't you, Daniel? That
Mm-hmm.
in order to attain anything, you really have to put the work in. You do.
Yes.
And I love also something I just took from that statement of the push pull factor, because you mentioned procrastination, and we do that. That's what we do, hmm myself included. But it isn't life just teaching you as well that, I guess, in that particular chapter about getting out of the comfort zone as well,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because we get so comfortable there. That's how we procrastinate, because like you said, exams next week, I'll do that close to the morning of the exams, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. You've got a passion that you want to go after, but you just sit there and you're like, it will happen when it happened. I did that with this particular platform. I left
Mm-hmm.
JChat just sitting there whenever, but my butt got a little warm now that we are home, and I'm thinking what to do, where is life taking me.
Yeah.
So I was forced to do this, get back into it, I should say. So
Yeah.
I guess in a way I had a sort of a push pull factor with COVID-19 in
Yeah.
in our world, right? So blame, I have been passing blame to others, and I realize, we should accept blame for sometimes some of the decisions that we make. And with that said, tell me about this blame tag, because it sounds like
Ah,
you're passing it on, right?
yes. I love the blame tag chapter,
You love
because
it.
it is, we're all guilty of it. Everything. Nobody is without blame with this whole blame tag thing. It's I mean, it's very simple, just in the name, where
Yeah.
we just can't take accountability for our actions. And to me, this needed to be a chapter because it goes deeper than just passing blame. It goes to accountability. It goes to thinking that you don't have control over your life, because that is a huge problem with my generation. We really believe, and you hear it in how we speak about things, the
Right.
behavior, that things happen that we have no control over it. And it blows my mind. Like a simple example, the example I gave in the book is I had a meeting with somebody and they were like an hour late and they were passing blame on every single thing but themselves. The traffic, somebody didn't put gas in their car. Um, this old lady was crossing the road and it took longer than expected. And I'm just thinking to myself, these are all things you have control over. This
Yeah.
is not anyone's fault but your own. But you are such in a conditioned loop of these things happen. It's not really my fault. I have no control over these things. But think about that with your life. What if you are saying that with your career, with your family, with
Speak.
your money? Then what do you think is happening? Because it goes deeper than just passing blame. It's like, and I see it all the time. We will spend hours on social media. We'll spend hours on these trivial things. But tell us to sit down for, let's say, an hour to 2 hours to do some research on, you know, investments, mortgages, learn about how to have a healthy relationship, read a book on it. We are just like, I do not have time for that, right? And then when things go wrong, we don't see it as we didn't prepare ourselves for it. We see it as this is just the way it is. And that not taking ownership for our life is the ultimate form of blame tag. And
Good point.
when you get to that level, you don't even see that the things that are happening to you are they're happening because you are letting it happen.
This book, The Millennial Mind, is certainly stimulating. Just in our conversation here, I can tell it will stimulate time management,
Mm-hmm.
responsibility, taking full blame or accountability for how your life is going. And like you said, I think one of the things that stood out for me, I really recognize, didn't even pay attention to it. You said that with millennials, because you're so after instant gratification and that's just around you in this world,
Mm-hmm.
that's all you know. And I always say what you know is what you will do. So I guess you would never understand the baby boomers of our time, which had just an ounce of technology sneaking in, but we had that sort of responsibility and we had to wait, and we didn't have, can I say this, sometimes some persons in this time feel that they're somewhat entitled. Let's be real, some young persons thinks
Yeah.
they're entitled and they don't have to work for it. It should come to me.
And I love that you said that because the most controversial topic in my book is in that first chapter. I literally have a subheading in the chapter that says, "We are not special."
Right.
And I get so many calls, so many lovely, angry calls about Daniel Francis. I am special. You cannot tell me otherwise. And I love those conversations because I put those words in there for these type of persons because they don't understand what it means.
Yeah.
Because when you think you are special, you are basically putting yourself in an air of you. Certain things are just you're entitled to
Yes.
them no
Yes.
matter what, right? And you don't understand how destructive that mindset can be, right? Nobody's saying that you're not amazing. Nobody's saying that God didn't put you in this world to do that one thing better than everybody else. But what we're saying is, if you think that you are special, if you think that you're entitled to certain things or that you're better than other people, it's going to put you in a place where you are not going to do well,
Mhm.
right? It's just, it doesn't work because no matter what level of success you're looking at, it takes work.
Ah, boy, it
No matter
does.
how much you plan.
No matter. So one more chapter before we talk about, because I'm sure you're crazy busy as a result of this book, because it was launched some time ago and we spoke via radio pre-launch. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to know certainly how it has been, but the choice is yours. What's that about, that chapter?
Yeah, that one dives straight into the accountability, straight
Right,
because
right.
Blame Tag touched on it. The choice is yours, went head first into it. Where it is, you need to understand that every single choice you make,
Hmm.
you basically decided to get this done and you committed to it. And whatever happens, the repercussions, the good, the bad, it's on you, right? But we're a railway generation too. We always on the fence. We always feel like if we choose to make one decision, we're losing out on something else.
Right.
Simple thing like setting up a meeting. Somebody said, boy, my generation tough with that, They're like, well, I don't want to set up that meeting Thursday at 1 because you never know, somebody might want to come online. and it's be a whole mental struggle. And again, it always goes back to our past conditioning, like whatever
Yeah.
happened in the past where, you know, you went to an event, it was bus, and you miss out, and you say you can't ever miss out again. And again, this is a whole thing with social media, because social media always shows you what you missed out on and make sure you know, yo, you spent your time over here, but this was going on over here, and this was better. So what are you gonna do about it next time?
Mm-hmm.
You get that anxiety that, okay, let me make sure that whatever decisions I make are the best decisions for me. But oh gosh, like this is life.
Yeah.
You're not always going to make the best choice, but you need to make a choice and fully commit it in
Do
order
you
to.
find, as the author of this book, speaking to millennials, do you find that millennials listen to you because you're of their age? So would they say, yeah, Daniel said this and it made real sense, or would they be like,
Yeah.
nah, what are you talking about now? Do you get that? Because I guess they would say that for someone like myself. We tend to not listen to the elder ones. They're like, this in your time.
Yeah.
But being a millennial
I don't know why we
yourself,
fight you down. I don't know why we fight you all down.
I
It's a,
love. Thank you so much. Don't fight
it's a
us
boomer,
down.
it's a boomer versus millennial thing. I don't know why we fight you all down.
But do you find that it's absorbed, it's received easier being a millennial and you having those conversations with them, whether it's on this or via the book?
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Because they're seeing me as on their level. Because I am. I'm a
Yes.
millennial. All these issues
Nice.
I talk about, I go through them just like everybody else. Maybe I have more of an awareness, but that doesn't mean that I am not inclined to actually be hurt by it or be affected by it. And I love when people will read something, they'll call me up and be like, wow,
No.
it felt like you were speaking directly to my struggle, especially now with COVID. I remember just trying to struggle if I wanted to launch a book still, but I inadvertently literally wrote for the time that we're in, because it talks a lot about not having control over your
Right.
external environment and accepting that, but then accepting that you do have control over certain things and focus on those things.
Mm.
You have control over your emotions, you have control over the things you say and do. And once you're able to realize that empowerment, then literally you can do anything. That's how you transform the outward reality that you're living in. But it's
Dan-
kind of hard to see.
Daniel, this book, The Millennial Mind, is it solely targeted to millennials? Because I feel like I just want to grab the book and get a read. But is it for all ages, even though it's that
Nah, it's all ages, because let's be real, personal development, it can help anybody.
nice?
I just wanted to be very specific with my target audience, as I am within the target audience. So when I said the millennial mind, I was like, hey, millennials, this is for you. But this is an excellent book for, let's say, persons who are in secondary school or coming out of
Great.
into university, or now about to leave university, especially them. This is an excellent book for those persons who may be a manager and they have plenty millennials, supervisor, plenty millennials under them, parents raising millennials, because there's so much things that we do that y'all don't understand, and from outside looking in, it really does look crazy. So
Yeah.
it's good to like have some kind of insight onto why we do the crazy things we do sometimes, so that it will make sense, because we're also not all of us, but communication can be hard between the generations. That's just a
Of
normal
course.
thing to
Yeah,
have.
that's understood. That's like when I grew up, you heard about Generation X versus,
Mm.
so
Yep.
the conversation obviously different.
Yeah.
So tell us about the launch, because I know it took place. I saw
Mm.
all your posts on Facebook as well as LinkedIn saying it was an
Mm.
absolute success, a virtual book launch. So
Mm.
give us a visual of it, because it will.
Oh, that was crazy,
Uh-huh.
because it's never really been done like that. And there's only so much preparations you can do, because it's a live event. It's live on Instagram. Anything could go wrong,
Right.
right? So there were many little technical difficulties, like audio problems and not hearing sometimes, or Instagram sticking. But wow, it was phenomenal. Like, we had Kivo the entertainer. He was
Right.
there hosting the event. He's
Right.
cracking us up. We had all types of different entertainment. I had a violinist joint living in, playing persons as they joined the live. I had a spoken word artist doing a spoken word piece specific to
Great.
millennials and personal development. I gave a speech on my whole experience, the ups, the downs. There were many downs with doing this through COVID. It was not easy. And I
Imagine.
hate hearing speeches where persons, yes, they're being inspirational, but they're not giving the details. And I wanted everybody to know, like, this is what I went through. I was scared. It was tough. and it still continues to be work. But if it is that you want something in your life, you have to believe in it 100% and keep pushing. Um, did a little book reading, and then, you know, thanks to all the sponsors, they came in. I had a whole bunch of giveaways. It was really nice. It was really beautiful. And then we ended with a nice after party in Millennial fashion. I even had Nyla Bachman come and do a
Nice.
performance. And we had the DJs play off at the end. We had DJ Charlotte and Chris Kennedy just playing off at the end and oneness. And I was like over the moon for like a week after that, because just replying to messages, people calling, reaching out, all the support. It was really, really, really amazing. And I guess that's what happened when you do something just out of the box, because I could have just given up, because I had options. The options
Right.
were to do the book launch later in the year, not do it again and launch a book alone. And I was just like, I had to see this time we're in as an opportunity and not as a failure.
Right.
And it's only when I started thinking like that, that the doors in my mind started opening to the possibilities of what could be. And that's what I think people should do. Like, yes, challenging times, but think about what you can do to capitalize any time we're in, whether it be working on yourself, working on your business, doing something so radical that it blows people's minds and you get the attention to push your step forward.
Yeah.
Like, that's really starts with you.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I needed to hear that, especially that last part. So it was a success. You had stars, you had everyone involved, a lot of creatives in Trinidad and Tobago. So tell us about the sales of the book. How's
Mhm.
that going since your launch?
Now that's been a whole difficulty as well, because yes, the book is on Amazon, but I really wanted to push to the Caribbean market as much, because there's a whole, there's so many people who are here that couldn't buy the book, and
Right.
I had to figure out how to make this a reality. Thankfully I had Printry TT who would print the book for me locally.
Right.
But even with that, non-essential companies were closed. I could only get a certain amount of books out at a certain amount of time. And even though it was set up in a really positive way,
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of cons where people said, okay, the world is closed. I can't get this book, even though I want it. Um, and I had to say, I have to make this work. That turned into getting face masks, drivers, taking orders, dropping book wherever I have
Oh,
to drop, just to get the book in the hands of the persons that want it, so I could keep the hype about the book real. And I remember when I made my plans last year, November, I did all my research. They said, first time authors only sell 250 to about 500 books a year. And, I read books like 10X Rule and Think Big and all these things. And I said, you know what? I have to push my hardest. So I'm aiming for 2,500 books by the end of 2020, no matter what. And, it's been, what has it been, like almost April, about 2 months. And
mm-hmm.
I'm already at about 500, almost 600 books sold, which is
Oh,
far surpassing how much an
of
average
course,
first-time
per
author would
year.
sell in a year. And I plan to hit my target of that 2,500 by the end of this year.
How do you feel, Daniel, saying that? How do you feel?
I feel empowered. I feel like if I truly believe it and I commit it, it will happen. And I'm not gonna make any excuses. I'm not gonna put any blame tag involved in this, in making this a reality. And I know that once I believe it, make my plan and stay consistent, there's nothing that can stop me from achieving this.
Daniel, you seem very strong, very driven, very confident, very intelligent. Tell me a little bit about your family, because support has to be one of those things that really helps you to create the person you are, or to give you that drive, because you didn't give up. COVID came, like you said, you could have said later on in the year for this,
Yeah.
or the challenges that presented itself with distribution of your books. What can you tell me about your family that really is your foundation to make you continuously stick with it?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up with two leadership development coaches in my house, so I feel like that should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, yeah.
It was no joke thing. We honestly still have this running joke going on, because I have three younger sisters, that while we were sleeping, our parents would play those leadership inspirational videos at our doors while we were sleeping. I feel like that's what they were doing, because there's this whole belief that if you listen to things when you're sleeping,
Of
it speaks
course.
directly to your subconscious and it
Yes.
reprograms your mind. But they have always, my parents have always been supportive. Their main thing was always that you do what you love and we will support you. I mean, they're very happy that what I happen to love is what they're doing as well. So they're very happy about that. But they were very supportive throughout this whole experience. When they found out I wanted to do a book, they were just like, yes, about time. Let's get to work,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just helping me chart that path forward. And especially my friends, because honestly, this would all be impossible if I did not have the support of my friends and my family, because their excitement not only helped to keep me motivated, but they would share everything. They would tell their friends. They would buy a copy. They buy any merchandise. They're doing everything. They say that, yo, we are here for you. Anything you need, we will make it so. And that actually that always had me so emotional. Like I almost cried when I gave my speech during the
Mm.
launch, because it's terrifying to put yourself out there in this way,
It's
because you
new.
don't know how it will be received. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know who will support you. But and you know how it have bad mind in the Caribbean when it comes to success and black man doing something, but the support was there. I felt it. I still feel it, and it's just good to know that there are bubbles of people who want to see that positivity. They want to see people succeed, and I'm thankful to have so many of them in my life.
You mentioned off mic, and I say this before we started to speak, that in terms of the sales of your book, you're looking to give back, you're paying it forward. So, yes, you're receiving great accolades, you're receiving great feedback on your book, but you're
Uh-huh.
also giving back. Can you speak to us about some of the ways you are doing that and what are some of the projects you're working on?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm part of Rotaract, so I'm in the Rotaract Club of Port of Spain West, and we're currently working on a program where we buy some hampers,
Right.
and give them to families. So we have a number, and when I heard that, I was like, great, I'm just gonna use some sales from this month, a percentage of it, and I'm gonna use it to buy some hampers to put inside there. And then, well, I did a video for Habitat for Humanity (TT), just encouraging persons to sign up for their virtual fun run. Basically, everybody that signs up and pays, the money is going towards helping build home for persons who don't have the luxury of having a home.
Right.
And I just want to use the platform that I have to help highlight those things that are happening, because this is a tough time. Some people are really struggling, and it's really on us. If we have that, we give, because you can't just have and then keep. That's not how the world works. The- So I want to make sure that I'm able to give back, because yes, I'm doing well, but I mean, I would not have been doing well if I didn't have the parents I had, the friends I had, the the upbringing I had, the
Upbringing,
schooling
yeah.
I had, and not everybody had that in their life. So who are we to not try to reach them and help them along their journey?
Daniel, what you're also doing is setting an example, being an exemplar. So, yeah, you just started this new project. I'm writing this book. I'm nervous. There are challenges, but you're showing also the young persons on the outside that, hey, these things come along with the ride,
Mm-hmm.
but it's important. And I think what stands out for me from what you're doing is that you're giving back. You
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to always um, give cash in some cases, which you are doing, but you find ways to give back. I always say you can give of service, of time, of
Mm-hmm.
recognition. So this is what with your success, you're remembering the importance of giving back. Yeah, because we all
Yeah.
started somewhere. Now
Yeah.
you just popped your not collar, but you popped your hood. So the millennial mind I'm seeing written on your chest. So you've got merchandise as well. You
Yeah.
can get.
The merchandise was just a thing that, like, I mean, I had a whole grand plan and I knew what would work, but the merchandise has really taken off. I literally, what was it, a week ago, I picked up 30 orders of hoodies in different colors that
Nice.
I'm working on delivering. And if you go on my site, you can actually order. I'm actually, it's surprising. It really surprised me what started to interest me with the different things that came with the book. Like the merchandise was one thing that really excited me that I just never expected me to be excited about. Like I'm excited to have photo shoot. I'm excited to come up with new merchandise that's special edition. Like I have face masks, and I don't know. I just didn't know that this would excite me so much, because I've heard these sweaters, V-necks, round neck t-shirts, and it's not like when you get it, it doesn't feel like you're getting it from for a book. It just feels like, yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
millennial. I
Yeah.
have a millennial mind. That's a real good flick. And I'm just really happy that it's catching on, because
Happy.
I really love seeing people sending me pictures and image and everything.
I'm happy for you, man. You're doing great things. Now,
Yeah.
I know you're very busy. So, is this also opening avenues of having conversations in terms of seminars? How can persons even connect with you if they wanted you to speak on their platform? Because I want us to go to your website to get more details on getting the book and also your
Hmm.
merchandise. But let's say we wanted to have you on a platform like this to speak for schools or speak to young persons. What's the process like?
Yeah. Well, I've been asked to speak to, youngsters from my old school. That was actually 2 weeks ago. I doing a whole bunch of seminars. I did a seminar for Youth Business TT. I did it for
Right.
National Youth Council. Um, and, I'm very, very vocal on social media. So, it's very easy to reach me there. You can reach me on LinkedIn, my name, Daniel Francis.
Right.
Instagram, Facebook, my name, Daniel Francis, or even my business page, which is Rebit Limited on Instagram and Facebook. I am always open, especially when it comes to speaking to youth, because I think it's important that they know that the possibilities are really are unlimited for us. It's really just for us to say what we want, make the plan, and keep pushing forward, and not letting any parameters mentally hold us back from
Mm-hmm.
achieving the greatness that we know we can achieve.
All right. So talk to us about this. You said, of course, Amazon. You mentioned a bit that we can get it on Amazon. But how
Mhm.
are some of the other ways we can get this book, The Millennial Mind?
Yeah. So outside of Amazon, if you go on my website, that's rebityouth.com.
Mm-hmm.
I have the options where you can buy the book on Amazon, and you can also place an order to get it locally. So that's through Printry TT. Once you click on the buy paperback locally, it sends you to their portal, and you can order it just like you're ordering from Amazon, but you'll get it locally. So they either deliver it to you, or you can just go collect it and pay cash. So
Right.
that was really important, because not everybody has an Amazon account. Not everybody has a credit card to say that they could, make
Good
that type
point.
of purchase, or even a skybox. So I wanted to make sure there were multiple options when it came to that. And even when you go on that site, you rebityouth.com, and you click the book icon to go on
Mm-hmm.
that page, I have 2 chapters of the book. The first two free to download. So if anybody
Oh,
wanted to just read
nice.
the 2 chapters, you could just go on there, take a read, see, if it resonates with you. And then any action you take after that is up to you.
So rebityouth.com, that's the website. So we can
Yes.
also go there for info on the merchandise as well and books.
Yes. So book, merch, and basically all the work I do as well.
All right. So in the month of June, I know you can't, you're not a future a storyteller of the future, but what do you think you have planned in terms of some of the places we can possibly see you doing some
Mm.
things? And right now, it's everybody's seeing each other via Zoom. Right.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, one thing I'm working on is getting that audiobook done, because I felt up getting harassed about that. We are
Thank
millennials, so
you.
we really just want that audio so we could do
To
things on the
plug it
other side.
in. Mhm.
Yeah, so
Can I
I'm
say that's
definitely
not a
working on that.
millennial thing only? That's also
Other
a baby boomer.
maybe
Because
we
of
might
time, everyone's just so busy, right?
Mhm.
And you want to be able to listen as you go along.
Very, very busy. And I know I've been approached to do some different speaking engagements, or even come on different corporations. So I want to see what pans out first before I let anything out there, because you don't want to jinx anything.
All right, yeah, yeah. I hear you. Don't let out. I don't want to spoil a thing for you either. All right. Any final words you want to share as we get ready to wrap it up to those that may be looking on and maybe just saying, "Hey, that's Daniel Francis." Some young person, especially some of the youths coming up. What can you offer
Mhm.
them in terms of words?
Yeah, I would say just be patient with your journey.
Mm.
Don't feel as though you need to rush anything. Maybe unplug from that technology for a little bit, and do that much needed introspection. And when I say that, I mean you have those moments where you're asking yourself those questions about, am I happy with what I'm doing? Is this the right decision? Don't ignore it. Don't push it to the side. Don't bury it. Sit down, actually reflect on it, answer those questions,
Mm.
and start working out what your core is, and then let that be expressed outwardly in your behavior, so that now you're not feeling stuck and lost and confused, but you feel like I have purpose. I'm happy with what I'm doing. Things might be hard, but I can see the steady steps that I'm making forward. And don't be so hard on yourself. We all are not perfect, but at the end of the day, once you're trying, you're in a good place.
Thank you so much for that. Before we go, I've got something like I try to hit 5 questions in 30 seconds. Yeah?
Mm.
Sort of a fun segment.
Whew, all right,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, it's fun
okay.
because I heard you say some things that some questions are coming to mind already. So if you can jump into that. First off, again, if you're wondering what's happening, I'm speaking to the author of The Millennial Mind. He's also a personal development coach, Mr. Daniel Francis. So I've got, if I can create 5 quick questions in my top of my head, I'm going to do that now. You said earlier on something about wanting to be something before you are what you are today. What was that career you were going after first off, intending?
I was gonna be a doctor.
In what, may I ask?
I wanted to do pediatrics
Pediatric. Oh,
because I
children.
love kids. I love kids.
You love
Love kids.
kids. Oh gosh.
I love kids.
All right. What is your favorite book? Be it, no, we're not talking about you.
Uh,
All right, give me three. Three.
all right, my Rich Dad Poor Dad because it got me in the journey of entrepreneurship. 10x Rule by Grant Cardone because it really motivates me to be the best version of myself, push my goals. And then 3, a book I read recently is called Key Persons of Influence because it is helping me to raise my profile as an individual and then to create a business around what I am doing.
So those are your favorite 3.
Yes,
what is that book would you say that someone should pick up and read? We know it's The Millennial Mind. Outside of that.
I think really excellent books. It could be anything. I think The Power of Now is really good, especially for millennials, because it helps you, see the world from a different point of view.
Right.
Miracle Morning, because it gives you the way of how you start your day and then prepare for what's to come. The third one, that's a really good one, boy. I like Crushing It by Gary Vee because it's a book that shows you how to use social media, whether it be for business, but it shows you how to use it for passion and then turn that passion into money.
Into profit. I always say that, turn that passion into profit. So I should check that book out from Gary Vee as well. I think Gary Vee is crazy. Absolutely love that man. Yeah, coming
that's
from
why that's why you see my posts all the time because I'm following the Gary Vee formula. I'm posting 3 times a day.
3 times. You're doing it 3 times, man. I'm failing with that. But he says 3 times per day. He does say that. All right. What's the most memorable thing coming out of your launch? One.
The most memorable thing coming out of my launch was okay, at the end of the launch, for persons who stayed all the way to the end, the DJs were playing Wildness and they played the Dive song by Faye and Lions. And while I was saying I was not going to do it, the guy in the studio cleared the studio, put a player on the ground, and the DJ and them encouraged me to dive, and I dived. It was a whole funny thing.
Dive. Yeah. All right. And finally, where do you see yourself next 5 years?
Next 5 years, I see myself creating a group of companies that focus on the millennial development, whether it be consultation, publishing, podcasts, all the different aspects that can help us be better based upon media and development, and just basically carving out that real estate that is millennials, because I see myself as that millennial expert in the future.
Hey, Daniel, all the best to you. Thank you for giving me some of your time inside of your day. Again, rebityouth.com. We can go to that website to get everything we need to know pertaining to your book, your merchandise, and more. Of course, you're very active, as you said. Thanks to the coaching and the pushing of Mr. Gary Vee, you can be seen heavily on LinkedIn, as well as Facebook and Instagram, yes? Any other platforms you want to mention?
I'm on Twitter and now figuring it out, but because I hit any millennial pain points, I find I'm getting a lot of likes and retweets. So maybe I might start growing it a little bit over the couple of months.
All right. Thank you very much. Be safe. This is a new world in which we're living in. Mm-hmm. And I wish you all the best with your book. I certainly do.
Thank you so much. And same to you.
We might be working in the future. You never know. You never know. If you know what I mean.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, this is where I say thank you so much for allowing me in your world. I know you got your things to do, but you still tuned in, and I appreciate that. So don't forget, click subscribe, click the like, share, and just let all of us gather from the information that is being shared inside of JChats, even if it's the fun ones as well. Serious fun, whatever it is. Thank you so much. Be blessed. Stay safe. I'm JD.